From Michael's 8th Avenue in Glen Burnie, Maryland, it's Ballroom Boxing on Home Team Sports. Hi, everybody. Larry Michael along with Jon Saraceno. And you know what, John? A special excitement in the air tonight at Michael's. Another great card.
Well, there always is. We've got a lot of competitive fights lined up and some interesting matchups.
You know, we have our eye on B. Scottland. B. Scottland has been on Ballroom Boxing before. He's exciting, but he's got a very tough test tonight.
Well, he's fighting a real journeyman, James Gatlin. I think Gatlin's going to pressure B to fight more and box less. And I think to be a more exciting fighter, Scottland's got to set down more on his punches. I hope that's a good fight.
You know, John, also we're going to hear from the former world heavyweight champ, former light heavyweight champ, and gold medal winner, Michael Spinks.
Yeah, one of the great fighters of all time, particularly at the light heavyweight division, but also stunned people by beating Larry Holmes twice, and a true gentleman of the sport.
Another great night of entertainment. Ballroom Boxing coming up after a timeout. Welcome back to Michael's 8th Avenue in Glen Burnie, Maryland. Ballroom Boxing. Larry Michael with Jon Saraceno. Got a fight in the ring right now. Let's get the official introductions from our ring announcer, Pat O'Malley. Pat?
Your attention, please, ladies and gentlemen. The Maryland State Athletic Commission Chairman Carlin Milligan Jr., Executive Director Patrick Pinella, and Ballroom Boxing promoter Scott Wagner, matchmaker Josh Hall present this 4-round bout in the lightweight division. The referee in charge is Bill Holmes. Introducing the boxers. To my right, fighting out of the blue corner and making his professional debut after 60 amateur fights. He's from Scottland, Maryland, wearing the black and white trunks with a green waist, weighing 137 pounds. Please welcome Derek Powerhouse Abel. Out of the red corner, wearing the black trunks trimmed in gold, weighing 136 pounds, from Washington, D.C. He's undefeated, 11-0, 8 via the KO. Please welcome Jermaine Fields.
All right, real quick, John, let's take a look at the matchup for this fight. Jermaine Fields unbeaten, Derek Abel, his pro debut.
Well, the biggest thing you see is that Jermaine Fields is a much taller fighter than Derek Abel. And the key factor here, Abel making his pro debut against a very good young fighter.
You no doubt about it, Jermaine Fields is a name to remember. 11-0, 26 years old. Tremendous potential out of Washington, D.C. And Derek Abel, a guy with a very, very comprehensive amateur background, but this is his pro debut at the age of 27. Now, we've seen Jermaine Fields before, John. This guy is all business, very much a good, well-skilled fighter.
He's got good command of all the basic punches. Knows how to put his shots together. But you know what? I was told before the fight he's been out of the gym recently. So it'll be interesting to see if we see any signs of that from Fields.
This fight is scheduled for 4 rounds.
You know, I'm starting to wonder if Josh Hall isn't growing southpaws out in the back of Michael's 8th Avenue, because it always seems like we do see a lot of left-handers here.
You see the huge height difference, which also translates into a reach difference. So if you are able, John, how are you able to battle against a guy with the more skills?
Well, just what Abel's trying to do. He's got to use good head movement, side-to-side action, not make himself a stationary target. He's got to find a way to get inside that jab. It's going to be a very difficult assignment, especially for a guy making his pro debut.
Yeah, it's tough for a guy like that.
I mean, why in the world would you want to fight Jermaine Fields in your first professional fight? I don't know. I tell you what, he just nailed Fields with a left hook. So maybe his manager knows more than we do. Probably does.
This would be a monumental upset if Abel were to be able to do something here against Jermaine Fields. And Jermaine Fields has been, you know, very well brought along, taken care of as he's come up the ranks. Turned pro in January of 1997. Is 11-0. Has 8 knockouts. This guy's got a lot of skills. Abel in his pro debut. This body shot there by Abel.
Abel showing a willingness to mix it up in his debut. I tell you what, I'm wondering if Fields is wondering what's happening here. He shouldn't be on the ropes, Larry. He's got to get off there and use his jab, use his boxing ability.
Good straight left hand by Fields.
He's getting suckered into this kid's fight.
Derek Abel of Washington, D.C. Excuse me, Scottland, Maryland.
Derek Abel shown to be much craftier than most guys making their pro debut.
Fields snuck a nice right jab in there, though, John. And
good left hook by Fields.
Follows up with a combination. A lot of blood from the mouth of Derek Abel.
Yep.
I think he might have gotten Fields a little upset. Oh, there goes the mouthpiece. I believe that is Fields' mouthpiece. Hard to tell. Big right hand by Fields.
And Abel landed a right hand.
Can't tell whose mouthpiece that is. It might be Abel's. I'm not sure.
The referee picks up, tosses it out of the ring, according to the Maryland rules. Good first round.
Fight continues. Our broadcast continues after a timeout from Michael's 8th Avenue in Glen Burnie, Maryland. Welcome back to Michael's 8th Avenue in Glen Burnie, Maryland. Larry Michael with Jon Saraceno, thanking the good folks at Coors for helping sponsor tonight's action here in the ballroom. Round 2 in the ring right now. Lightweights, Jermaine Fields, unbeaten Jermaine Fields, knocking on the door of a world ranking, taking on Derek Abel. Fields, the taller of the two in the ring right now.
What may explain some of the success that Derek Abel had in that first round is that he had a pretty extensive amateur background, at least 60 fights, which by today's standards is not bad. And Abel actually called promoter Scott Wagner to make this match. These guys have seen each other in the gym before. I'm assuming they may have sparred. And so he had no problem in his pro debut challenging Jermaine Fields, a match that we question.
Abel right now getting tagged, and Fields needs room to operate, and he is finding it right now in round 2. John, early in the fight, Abel kind of bull rushed Fields and got him up against the ropes. He was his most effective at that time. Now with some room to punch, Fields really dictating the tempo.
You're exactly right. Fields has got to be on the outside with that right stick and then come in with the left. You saw him do it right there.
See some blood from the mouth of Derek Abel. That a result of some pretty sharp punches in the first round from Fields.
Abel is dropping his left hand a little bit and exposing himself. Abel hot dogging, that's not going to win any favor with the judges. It's a waste of time, and it shows that you're getting hurt, and you got hurt to the body right there by Fields.
It's really getting tagged, John. The right hand, the jab, really turning the tide for Jermaine Fields. Sweeping right hand, and Abel goes down on a knee to clear his head. Good move.
Good move by the young fighter. Taking a break, because he could have got stopped right there. Fields was going to move in. Let's see if Fields can finish him off. Fields should use a left uppercut if he can. He got tagged there.
Oh, big right hook there by Fields, and Abel spins him around into a corner.
The blood is flying at ringside.
Abel really turning the tide here after taking a beating early in this round. Power punches from Fields.
Fields is trying to stop him, Larry.
Abel just holding on right now. Closing moments of round 2. A big round for Jermaine Fields. Could be a 10-8 round. Definitely a 10-8 round. More boxing action coming up on Home Team Sports. This is round 3. Round 2, just a huge round for Jermaine Fields. Jon Scheinman, how do you have it scored through 2?
I agree with you guys. 2017, I also gave it a 10-8 round in the second round for Jermaine Fields. Just too much pop in that straight left hand for Derek Abel. But I also think Abel is not completely well conditioned for this fight. He seemed to really started to get tired there in the second round, and he wasn't taking a lot of body shots.
All right. This is round 3. This fight is scheduled for 4 rounds. Jermaine Fields really showing his class as a fighter in the second round.
Well, the difference, Larry, is that Jermaine Fields is starting to turn his punches over. He's getting good leverage, and that power is starting to eat up Abel.
Really bringing those uppercuts from down deep, John.
It's the way he throws, too. He throws a punch like a professional fighter. A lot of times you see professional fights, and guys do not know how to punch.
Cut over the left eye now of Derek Abel. He's got a cut mouth. It's been bleeding since the first round, and now his right eye as well, a swelling and a cut. Over the left eye, I should say, of Abel.
And you can see Fields' determination. He wants to stop this guy who's been hot dogging a little bit.
Abel obviously has felt the power of Fields.
The fight has just about gone out of Abel.
Big right uppercut by Fields.
There was that uppercut we talked about last round. That time he finally threw it.
And Abel is about to go. One good shot by Fields and Abel will go. We still have a minute 30 to go here in round 3.
And he may hit him another one of those right uppercuts, and that could finish him off.
There's a beautiful right. And another one. And another one. And it is Jermaine Fields.
Good stoppage.
Jermaine Fields disables Derek Abel in the 3rd round. And Fields runs his record to 12-0. And you're right, a very good stoppage. There wasn't anything Abel could do about that punishment.
Now, Anthony Fields started off slowly, but finished fast in that 3rd round. Picked it up the pace in the 2nd round, Larry, and really tore apart a young fighter making his pro debut.
Now, Fields started finding a home for that right jab midway through the 2nd round. And then in the 3rd and final round, the uppercut came into play. The right hand specifically by Jermaine Fields. He runs his record to 11-0. As he takes out Derek Abel in Abel's pro debut. You know, Jermaine Fields, I think, John, needs to think about moving up in competition to take on some of the better fighters in that lightweight division. I think he's got world championship skills. What do you think?
No question. He can be a world champion, but don't forget, he's only got 12 pro fights. And the worst thing you could do with a young fighter is to rush him into something before he's ready. This kid's got a lot of skills. He certainly has shown determination and heart the times we've seen him, but you're right. He's been, you know, he overmatches with the guys he fights. I mean, he's that much better skill-wise. And so at some point, they're going to have to start moving him up slowly.
So Fields the winner by TKO. Let's get the official word from Pat O'Malley.
Your attention, please, ladies and gentlemen. The winner by TKO at 155 of round 3, Jermaine Fields.
That's his 9th knockout and his 12th win without a defeat. Jermaine Fields from Washington, D.C., a lightweight winner in the 3rd round over Derek Abel. Welcome back to Ballroom Boxing. Larry Michael with Jon Saraceno. We talked about in the open, John. Scottland takes on James Gatlin in just a few moments. What do you think is going to happen in that fight?
Well, Gatlin is a very savvy fighter. He's a taller fighter than Scottland. Scottland's on a very tall light heavyweight. Scottland's going to have to get on the inside and whack away, try to grind down Gatlin.
Very exciting. Scottland and Gatlin in the ring. Let's go to Pat O'Malley.
Your attention, please, ladies and gentlemen. The Maryland State Athletic Commission, Chairman Carline Milligan Jr., Executive Director Patrick Bonella, Ballroom Boxing Promoter Scott Wagner, and Matchmaker Josh Hall present this 6th-round bout in the light heavyweight division. The man in charge when the bout starts will be Jodi Wingfield. Introducing the boxers. Out of the blue corner, wearing the blue and white trunks, weighing 171 3/4 pounds, from Atlanta, Georgia, with a record of 12-28, 7 via KO. Please welcome James Machine Gun Gatlin. Fighting out of the red corner from North Brentwood, Maryland. He's wearing the gold and black trunks, weighing 168 1/4 pounds. His record, 12-4-2, 5 by knockout. Please welcome Beethaven, Scotland.
Let's take a look at the matchup here. B. Scottland, someone familiar to ballroom boxing fans, going against the machine gun, James Gatlin.
Well, B. Scottland only 5'9", a little bit smaller fighter, younger fighter, not nearly the experience of James Gatlin. Interesting matchup.
Scotland looking to get back on the comeback trail. He had a win here in the ballroom in September over Dennis McKinney. Prior to that, he had lost 3 of his previous 4 fights. 2 in a row to Eric Hardy, then he got a win over Anthony Harris in DC, then went to New Jersey and lost the decision to John James. So B. Scottland looking to continue on the winning track here tonight against the machine gun James Gatlin. Great story about Gatlin. Now you see both southpaws, and really Scottland going after Gatlin early.
B. Scottland looks like he wants to fight tonight, Larry.
Yeah, usually he's a dancer. Tonight he is a fighter. James Gatlin told our promoter of ballroom boxing, Scott Wagner, of his 28 fights, really hadn't lost any of those. Those were all bad decisions or mistakes.
Well, what I like, against a slender, tall fighter, he immediately jumped on Gatlin and went to the body, trying to break him down physically. I think Scottland knows he's got his work cut out tonight.
Now, you see the record of Gatlin. He's been in against some pretty good fighters. Charmaine Mitchell of Washington, D.C., who just won a world title recently. Engels Pedroza, a former middleweight contender. And Alfonso Daniels, our good friend. Alfonso Daniels, who's in the house tonight, took care of James Gatlin back in October of this year.
He's also fought Joe Lipsy and Brian Barbosa, who are known quantities in the boxing world. So he has been in with some world-class fighters. For B. Scottland, this is only his 3rd year as a professional. And he felt he's been mismanaged in the past. Hasn't really been a focused fighter. 1996, his draw with Bernice Barber led to a couple of losses after that against Eric Harding, 4 and 8 rounders. And then he lost to John James about a year ago. So
nice right hand by Scottland. Follows with the left, really putting some heat on Gatlin right now.
Exactly. And
this is the most aggressive we've ever seen B. Scottland.
Without a doubt. You see Gatlin wincing. Something's wrong with Gatlin, Larry.
Yeah, it's B. Scottland.
He's got a bee in his bonnet.
Now, Scottland, you got to wonder about his conditioning. Comes with a lot of flash, sometimes does run out of steam. Coming out on fire here in the first round.
Doesn't look as cut as he normally does, although certainly his physique.
Nice left hand counter there by Gatlin. About his best punch of this first round.
B just looks smaller to me. I mean, he looks in good shape. He just doesn't look as pumped up as in the past.
See Gatlin huffing and puffing right now as he moves forward. He's 28 years old, from Atlanta, Georgia. Nice punches by B. Scottland, a left and a right. Very sharp right now.
Well, Gatlin's trying to get in a rhythm, and Scottland won't let him into it.
Closing seconds of a very impressive round 1 for Beethaven, Scotland. B. Scottland from North Brentwood, Maryland. Round 2 coming up next. Stick around. Welcome back to Ballroom Boxing on Home Team Sports. Larry Michael with Jon Saraceno. We're at Michael's 8th Avenue, as always, in Glen Burnie, Maryland. Chandeliers polished beautifully. Fans enjoying themselves. Round 2 here. Good first round, super middleweights for B. Scottland. Scottland in the sequin trunks. James Gatlin, the machine gun out of Atlanta, in the blue trunks with a white trim.
Well, Gatlin's trying to come out a lot more aggressive in this second round. Dug a bit of a hole for himself there early, even from a psychological standpoint. Scottland got very brave in that first round.
Gatlin trying to fire off the left hands. He scores a couple times to the cheek of B. Scottland.
We may see what B. Scottland is made of tonight, Larry.
Gatlin is 12 and 28. As we said, he claims no losses, though he has been knocked out on several occasions. Matter of fact, he was knocked out 3 times in a row in 1997.
But Scottland is not known as a powerful puncher. And by the way, Gatlin started out this round, and after he was hit in the first round, he's fighting him as if he thinks he could take his best shot and come back and fire his own, and that's what he's trying to do here.
Not much room to operate there for either fighter. Nice uppercut inside by Scottland. Listening to the folks in the crowd here.
It's because Scottland drops his right hand and exposes himself for the left hook. All he has to do is time it, Gatlin, with the left hand. Scottland can be hit. He tried to drop the left hand in there and missed.
It's a better round for Gatlin in this round, but really not that effective. This round is still up for grabs.
So it's not as if Gatlin does not have any skills for a guy with a record that he has. Match very tough throughout his career.
Yeah. Good body shot by Gatlin. Good combinations from Gatlin. No response from B. Scottland. Strong left hand stuns Scottland.
Tell you what, Gatlin is taking this round, and he may take psychological advantage after this round too, Larry. Very good rebound round for Gatlin.
Oh, another big left hand.
And there was that uppercut underneath, the left uppercut.
The right eye of Scottland beginning to show some swelling. Gatlin dives in with a left uppercut.
Scottland's corner has to tell him, B, you've got to keep your right hand up. It's a bad habit he's gotten into.
There's a body shot by Scottland. Gatlin talking to him inside in the clinch, John, there. What do you think he's saying to him?
Hello, B. He ain't going to sting me tonight.
Punches from Gatlin coming quite a bit slower here now as the second round wears on. Good round for James Gatlin. Good competitive fight, as always, here in the ballroom. Round 3 coming up next. Don't go away. Welcome back to Ballroom Boxing on Home Team Sports. Round 3 underway. B. Scottland in the sequin trunks. James Gatlin in the blue trunks with a white trim. And someone with us here tonight who knows just about everyone here in the ballroom, Jon Scheinman. He is America's guest, and he's got a scorecard through 2 rounds. What do you say, big man?
Well, as long as I can stay for dinner, I'll be America's guest. I got this 19-19 all even. Gatlin took Scottland's best stuff in the first round, and he wasn't hurt, and he said, hey, I can get this guy. He's an opportunistic, unorthodox journeyman, and when he sees the chance to win a fight, he'll definitely go try to put it in his pocket.
Thank you, Jon Scheinman. Jon Saraceno of USA Today. You see Gatlin here. It's picking up where it left off in the second round. Do you think he can go the full 6 rounds, speaking of Gatlin, at that pace?
No question. I think he can. I think he's got the experience, and he looks fresh here in the third round after a very active second round. And you saw Gatlin come out and attack Scottland's body as B did in the first round to Gatlin.
Nice right hand hook there by B. Scottland, trying to get some room to operate. Gatlin's done some good body work here in this round as well already.
You know, sometimes when you see a fighter jump on a guy like Scottland did in the first round, it's a bad sign. We don't know how B. Scottland trained. We're not suggesting he didn't train hard, but he may know something. He may have an injury. He may not be feeling well. And when you see a fighter do that, it's a sign sometimes that he wants to try to get the guy out of there very quickly because he doesn't feel he can go rounds.
And conversely, it could be a sign from him that he's taking on a more aggressive posture. We've seen him in the ballroom before and go through a good boxing exhibition, but really not throwing any power shots.
Yeah, he's needed to turn up the excitement burner, and he certainly did that here so far tonight, particularly in the first round. But I tell you what, Gatlin really has changed the complexity of this fight, Larry, and it happened in the second round when he began landing those short.
Nice left hand there by Scottland, and another one, and a body shot, and a clubbing right hand. Gatlin battles back, just as you said it, John. Almost like B. Scottland was listening to you, saying, well, I better do something here.
I think he senses the fight was slipping away from. Now you see Gatlin getting a little bit sloppy.
Yeah, and breathing heavy.
And looking a little frustrated and tired.
So he was looking at you. Has been looking over here at our broadcast position. Gatlin shaking his head no. It's a very tough round to call right now. It was Gatlin early, then Scottland had a flurry.
Well, I think Scottland's landed the heavier, more telling shots in this round, but it is a close round.
Scottland with the jab. Another clipping left hand. Ducks the right.
Now, Gatlin stopped jabbing in this round. And it looks like he's taking his round off a little bit, Larry. It was a very active second round for Gatlin. He hasn't done a lot in this third round.
Clubbing left. Another left by Scottland. A left to the neck, and a good left hand by Scottland.
Good counter punching, though, by Gatlin on the inside.
Toe-to-toe, just like we like it in the ballroom. We'll be back. The official scorecard. Gatlin coming right out to open round 4. Welcome back, Larry Michael and Jon Saraceno.
Gatlin opening up the guns.
It's been a very exciting fight. Ebb and flow from the first moment of the first round when Scottland took the charge at Gatlin. Here in round 4, it is Gatlin taking the charge at Scottland through 3 rounds. Jon Saraceno, how do you have it scored?
I've got Scottland ahead by 1 point, close third round, but I gave it to Beethaven. I thought he landed the better shots, particularly to the head.
This fight is scheduled for 6 rounds. B. Scottland is 13-4, James Gatlin 12-28.
There's been a good ebb and flow to this fight. Scottland jumped out quickly in the first round. Then it was Gatlin in the second. Scottland came back in the third, and we saw how Gatlin started off this 4th round, throwing those powerful left hands. Didn't land with all of them, but he certainly got Scottland's attention. Now B's going back to his basic boxing, which he wants to probably settle into.
Now Gatlin is not throwing the same amount of punches, and I guess he threw a whole bunch at the beginning of this round. But I'm not so sure that as this fight doesn't wear on, it does go to the advantage of B. Scottland.
Oh, don't forget, Gatlin is not the youngest guy in the world, Larry.
Just 28 years old, though. He's had a lot of fights and a lot of losses. Been knocked out many times. Left-right combination by James Gatlin from Atlanta, Georgia.
And a lot of times it's not age, but it is the number of fights you had and how many rounds and with who you fought.
Oh, Scotland scores with a left and another right.
Yeah, but
Gatlin's in some trouble.
The right hand hurt him, Larry.
Referee Jodi Wingfield comes in and helps out the situation. Gatlin is wincing.
It looks like he's got a broken nose. He's bleeding profusely. We're going to have a timeout here. He is really hurt. That nose is busted.
Calling the ringside doctor over, and you do see that nose. I think his nose is broken.
I think the fight's going to be called. Beethaven Scottland with a left hand, but it was the right hand that followed through flush on the face of Gatlin.
Blood just pouring from the nose of James Gatlin. I'll tell you what, he is in some bad shape with that nose. I think this fight is over. Let's wait and see.
I'm not sure what the Maryland doctor's even waiting for at this point.
What is the call here?
I mean, the way Gatlin was wincing when it was just barely touched, it looked like it was broken to us.
This certainly has to be the end of this fight. Has to be the end of this fight. I don't think Gatlin can continue.
Yeah, he may want to. He does. And the doctor is not going to stop the fight. And Gatlin's ready to go.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know if this fight should go on. Scottland all over Gatlin. The end of round 4, and we're going to keep it here between rounds.
Good move by Scottland there to go to the body. Oh, my.
Big time left hand. The referee, Jodi Wingfield, trying to step between the 2 fighters.
Yeah.
You're supposed to protect yourself at all times. We're going to keep it right here to see what happens in this between rounds. Look at the corner of Gatlin. Gatlin is in very, very bad shape.
The fight should be stopped in our opinion, at least in my opinion. Gatlin kind of lost focus there near the end of the round, and Scottland charged across the ring as he was entitled to do.
The bell had not rung. B. Scottland, all business in his corner. This has been a very impressive fight for B. Scottland. And let's look at the corner of James Gatlin. The doctor is there. I'm not so sure they should allow this fight to continue with the amount of blood pouring from the nose of Gatlin. We'll see, though. He's a veteran. He knows if he can continue. You see, B. Scottland would love to see this fight continue.
I guess so, after that performance in the 4th round. I got Scottland ahead by 2 points in the fight, and Gatlin in all kinds of trouble here.
Real quick, let's check in with Jon Scheinman, see what his scorecard says. John.
Well, I made that a 10-8 round for B. Scottland. I got a 39-36, and he looks like he's going to win going away. I agree with you, Larry. I don't think this fight should go on. He looked like he was in a lot of pain, and it just should have been stopped in the last round.
It looked like he had almost asked for a timeout, and he got it because of the hurt nose.
Hey, let's applaud the courage of Gatlin, and look how he's coming on here as a bloody mask begins to form on the face of James Gatlin.
Jodi Wingfield telling these boxers to pay attention to him. This fight is breaking out right now as the nose of Gatlin is in horrible shape, just horrible shape.
I tell you, if Gatlin comes over any closer to us, he's going to get a terrific laundry bill from Larry Michael and myself.
Here they are right above us. B. Scottland hammering James Gatlin.
What a gutty performance by a journeyman fighter, Gatlin.
No question about that, John. And you wonder what's keeping him fighting.
And here's a question. Should Scottland be able to finish him here?
I'll tell you what, Gatlin's taking a lot of punishment. I'm just wondering if this fight should continue.
I'm not
Gatlin's nose is immense. Winfield, the referee, asked him if he wants to continue. He says yes.
Sometimes you have to protect a fighter from himself. You can get a guy who's too brave and want to do too much.
Maryland State rules, only the referee can stop
the fight. And the fight's over, Larry.
And the referee does just that. Good call by Jodi Wingfield. Gatlin is for some reason protesting that decision. Very impressive fight for B. Scottland. Probably the most power we've ever seen him show.
No question. Scottland in the past has been a kind of a ringmaster with his dancing and his boxing ability. Tonight he set down at his punches a lot better. Showed he could punch a little bit. Gatlin upset, but I tell you what, he's got nothing to be unhappy about. The stoppage was a good call.
B. Scottland not liking the way that Gatlin is demonstrating here. I think it was a good stoppage. In fact, I thought it was a late stoppage.
Yes, you could question the timing of it, but I tell you what, I like a fighter who's upset when the fight stopped. I want to see a guy like that get upset. I don't want to see a guy go back to his corner and take his money and go home. That's why Gatlin continues to fight on the club show circuit.
So an exciting fight here in the ballroom. That's what the folks want to come see when they come to Michael's 8th Avenue in Glen Burnie, Maryland. Competitive fight, and that is just what we have seen.
Gatlin gave it all. He is on his stool, bending over, just exhausted, drained, and probably with a busted schnoz.
Yeah, probably. Probably. Get the official time from Pat O'Malley. B. Scottland runs his record to 13-4-2. That is his 6th knockout.
Larry, real quick, Gatlin might have not wanted the fight stopped because he probably faces a 60-day suspension by the Maryland State Athletic Commission for getting TKO'd.
Good point, Jon Scheinman. Pat O'Malley with the official time. Pat?
Your attention, please, ladies and gentlemen. The winner by TKO at 120 of round 5, Beethaven, Scotland.
Good to see B. Scottland winning again. That's his 2nd straight win. Runs his record to 13-4-2 with the 6th round, his 6th knockout. The fans not appreciating the performance by B. Scottland. I tell you what, I appreciated it.
So did I. Thumbs down to the fans here, who are normally very charitable. I don't know what they're booing. Gutty performance by both fighters. Don't forget, Scottland had a couple rough moments there and had to come back and dig down in his heart and pull it out.
Let's see what the winner, B. Scottland, has to say. He's standing by with Jon Scheinman.
Beethaven, it looked like a tremendous right hand. I think you broke his nose. What did you think when you did that?
Well, I felt as though he was hurt, and, you know, I seen that he was hurt, so I just jumped right on top of him. I trained real hard, and I told everybody when I come back, it's going to be a different fight than the last fight. Every time that I fight, it's going to get better and better. That's for sure.
Were you surprised that Gatlin continued to fight, considering the mask of blood?
Well, he's a good fighter. I seen him fight. I seen tapes of his, and he's a game fighter, but tonight, he just was outclassed tonight.
Beethaven, Scotland, 2 in a row. He's back on a roll. Let's go back to ringside.
All right, thank you, Jon Scheinman. More action coming up. Ballroom boxing on Home Team Sports from Michael's 8th Avenue. Stick around. We're back in the ballroom at Michael's 8th Avenue. Excitement in the air. Great fight in the ring. Larry Michael, Jon Saraceno, Jon Scheinman with us as well. And in the ring, Pat O'Malley with the introductions. Pat.
Your attention, please, ladies and gentlemen. The Maryland State Athletic Commission, Chairman Carl N. Milligan Jr., Executive Director Patrick Pinella, Ballroom Boxing Promoter Scott Wagner, Matchmaker Josh Hall, present the 6th-round bout in the light heavyweight division. The referee in charge will be Kenny Chevalier. Introducing the boxers. Fighting out of the blue corner to my right, wearing the white trunks, trimmed with black waist, weighing 171 pounds, from Washington, D.C., with a record of 13-4, 2 by knockout. Please welcome Arnold Ali Fountain. To my left, in the red corner, wearing the black trunks with white lettering, weighing 176 3/4 pounds. He comes to us from the Max Lewis Gym in Baltimore, Maryland, with a record of 5-0, 4 by knockout. Please welcome George Barksdale.
Crowd loved George Barksdale. Let's take a look at the matchup, John. Barksdale and Fountain.
Well, physically, they're matched fairly even. Of course, the big difference is the age. Fountain 6 years older than Barksdale, and Barksdale undefeated at this point. A surprise at light heavyweight.
Barksdale carries a lot of power in his fist. He's got 2 first-round knockouts and a second-round knockout. Those are his 3 knockouts. He's got 5 wins, hasn't lost. Been a pro since September of '97. Saw him here in the Ballroom in September. A very, very impressive 1-round knockout. Let's see what happens here.
And the interesting thing is that when he's been matched, often they matched him basically as the underdog. And he's pulled off upsets at least 4 of the 5 fights coming in. He's really created a little bit of a fan base here. We've seen some excellent power from Barksdale.
This is his toughest fight to date, no doubt about that. Ali's record, talking about the so-called Arnold Ali Fountain. His record is deceiving. He's had some impressive wins. Big win over Jerry Walker recently. And for him, that's a pretty good deal because he lost 4 straight leading into that win.
Barksdale showing good composure for a fighter who only had 13 amateur fights and turned pro at age 24.
Had a tough upbringing, got into some trouble, has straightened his life out. Boxing has been a big key for him. Out of the Mac Lewis gym in Baltimore. Barksdale trying to get off, trying to get some combinations together.
I really like this guy's composure. He really takes his time, tries to put his punches together, doesn't rush, doesn't get excited. He's got a very good trainer in his corner to help him. You see Ali's defense consisted mostly of peekaboo, putting up his gloves, trying to pick off some of those shots from Barksdale. A lot of times a fighter who has early knockouts in his career, Larry, can develop bad habits, thinking he's just going to blow through everybody.
Barksdale does not look very tense, though. Being relaxed is a key to keeping your energy and not wasting energy.
Exactly, and what I like too is that he's throwing a lot of different kind of punches, not just throwing power punches, trying to bomb the guy out of there. You saw him jabbing some. Now he's working on the inside. I think Ali's best fight would be to use his legs if he has any. This is Barksdale's fight right here along the ropes.
Fountain, though, Ali has good defensive skills up against the ropes, has his hands held high, keeps his elbows tucked in to try to protect his body.
He's going to have to throw a lot more to be in this fight. Can't be in a defensive mode the whole fight with a guy like Barksdale. He's going to eat you alive.
Well, Barksdale is certainly throwing punches.
Very passive first round for Ali. And I hate to even use that name.
You see the midsection of Ali should be a target for Barksdale. Round 1 winding down. Barksdale turning up the heat. As we go to break, we'll be back. Yes, we are back. Ballroom boxing. George Barksdale in the ring against Arnold Fountain of Capitol Heights, Maryland. Barksdale from Baltimore, Maryland. It's an all-Maryland battle. Barksdale is unbeaten at 5-0. Big write-up recently in the Baltimore Sun about him and about his life and how he's straightened his life out and is on the road to what he hopes are brighter days as a boxer. He's 5-0. He is 26 years old, and he is in the ring now with the man known as Ali, which is a deceiving nickname because he has not fought up to those standards, that's for sure.
Let's just call him Arnold. You know what? I was about to call him Ali again. Mr. Fountain has a tendency to go into a shell and fight defensively. I think we saw some of that in the first round. But you know what, with a guy like Barksdale, who doesn't have a lot of fights and hasn't been extended, that may not be a bad blueprint for victory. Try to extend Barksdale a little bit.
Tickets still available for the next Ballroom boxing card, January 28th of the year 1999. Check out the website as well on www.ballroomboxing.com, and you'll see pictures of yours truly, Jon Saraceno, and there's even a couple pictures of John Scheinman on the website, I understand. Anyway,
will I get charged if I try to access those photos?
I don't know.
Do I have to go through AOL or something? Because if I do,
www.ballroomboxing.com.
no, it's actually a good website started by the promoter Scott Wagner.
Nice counter right hand there by Arnold Fountain. Barksdale.
Oh, Fountain has been more aggressive in this second round. I don't know if he's been more effective with it, but he's certainly thrown more punches. Barksdale just hit him with a right hand on the chops there.
This is a tough fight for Barksdale. You have to believe that Barksdale has looked up Ali. Arnold Fountain, 4-13 with 4 draws, 2 knockouts. Barksdale doesn't seem to have the fire tonight, John.
Tough fight for Barksdale. How would you like to be Fountain with that guy coming at you winging?
Yeah, blood from the nose of Barksdale. So just things are not working out for George Barksdale here.
Well,
in this fight, even though he's clearly winning the fight.
What I like is Barksdale looks like he's well conditioned and he's ready to go as many rounds as he has to. He does not holding back. A lot of fighters hold back too much. Remember, you got to be entertaining to be a fighter. It's not just a sport, it's a business. You got to be entertaining. Barksdale.
Arnold Fountain sneaks in a right hand. Another right hand by Arnold Fountain.
But the problem is those right hands by Fountain, it's like hitting a guy with a pillow. He's got nothing behind it. He's really not a puncher at all. It's a pity pat.
Now I see. Arnold Fountain has tassels on his shoes.
And look, well, of course, look at the color of his trunks. The combination by punching by Fountain off the ropes.
The end of round 2. We'll be back with more Ballroom Boxing in a moment. Back for round 3 here in the Ballroom. Larry Michael with Jon Saraceno in the ring. Arnold Fountain in the white trunks with the black trim, and in the black trunks is George Barksdale. Unbeaten George Barksdale. 5-0. John Scheinman of Ring Magazine. How do you have it scored through 2?
All even, 19-19. I gave that second round to Fountain, and it's because I saw his 21 fights worth of experience begin to come through against a very inexperienced bomber. You see some subtle things, but you see George Barksdale begin to get out of his game plan. Ali Fountain is known to have a very tough chin. He can take a lot of punishment. He went the distance with Darrell Hollowell, who came back and knocked out Courtney Butler in his next bout. This guy can take his shots.
All right, the always brief John Scheinman.
Not only that, where does he find all that oxygen in this room?
I don't know.
Especially with us two here.
He knows his stuff, though. I got to give him that.
And I would agree with his assessment.
I would, too.
I'll make it short and sweet.
Barksdale now beginning to wing. It looked like he was fighting tightened up, John. It didn't look like he was really firing out those punches like we usually see from Barksdale.
And he's getting hit with some right hands, as you pointed out in the last round. Not a lot of steam behind him. The Fountain's here to fight.
Fountain's got the experience, just like John said.
It's kind of flowing for him here in the third round.
Oh. There goes the mouthpiece.
Yep.
Fountain's mouthpiece. And he, right now, at 33 years of age, is looking for that elusive Fountain of youth. Now, okay. Fountain fighting back without the mouthpiece off the ropes. Doing a good job. Barksdale really just turned up the heat here in the third round.
Good body punching by the young fighter.
Off the ropes, once again, Fountain with the left hand. Barksdale won't give him any room to operate. Another clubbing left hand by Barksdale. The knees of Fountain beginning to bend somewhat. Good left hand by Fountain, and Barksdale slows a bit.
Barksdale got hit by another wild right hand there at the end of that exchange.
And Fountain now turns Barksdale around onto the ropes.
Barksdale is looking a little fatigued here in the third round.
He's taking a lot of punishment. He's thrown a lot of punches. Another right hand by Fountain.
Then again, I would be surprised if Barksdale's thrown over 200 punches so far in the fight. Maybe 250. We're only in the third round.
Fountain tired as well, backing up against the ropes.
Fountain, a very durable fighter. He's in for the long haul.
Or just a brutal round here. Good punch by Barksdale, knocks Fountain back.
I tell you what, Barksdale is really gasping. He looks like those guppies in those aquariums trying to get extra air near the top of the water.
Fountain's punches, slapping punches. Barksdale, clubbing left hand.
Well, you see how wide Barksdale's, and he's getting caught, Larry, because he's throwing wide, and Fountain is counterpunching, and he's nailing him.
Nice left hand, another right. Left-right combination, good finish to this round. For Arnold Fountain going up against unbeaten George Barksdale back after this. All right, welcome back to Ballroom Boxing, brought to you on Home Team Sports by Coors and the good folks at Toyota. I'm Larry Michael, along with Jon Saraceno. And John, we have 3 rounds in the books here. 4th round underway. Barksdale taking on Arnold Fountain. This fight is scheduled for 6 rounds. How do you have it scored at the midway point?
Yeah, Fountain ahead 29-28.
It should be a large upset. Barksdale unbeaten. And there is a lot of hype around Barksdale as being a power punching light heavyweight.
There's no question this has been Barksdale's toughest fight to date, and he's slowing down in the 4th round. He's been slowing down, and Fountain knows it. And now he's going to use all that of experience and use his legs to make Barksdale get further fatigued.
Just to show you how big of an upset this would be if Fountain were to beat Barksdale. Fountain began his pro career in 1993. Lost his first 3, had a draw before winning in 1995. Then he lost 2, drew 1, had another win, and then fought through 6 fights, 4 losses and 2 draws from 1995 in August through September of 97 before finally winning a fight, again his 3rd, in November of 1997. Then lost 4 more, John, and just won earlier this year. His 4th fight. He is 4-13 with 4 draws. And right now, he seems to be schooling Barksdale here in the 4th.
You're right. He's an experienced 4-13 with 4 draws. And there's a difference because this Barksdale kid doesn't have a lot of fights. And it's showing here tonight. He's getting dressed down and exposed. And I really got a question.
Combination by Fountain.
If Barksdale didn't look at that record and take this guy cheap. You see how wide Barksdale's throwing his punches. He no longer has leverage on those shots, and that's arm fatigue.
Now, I do believe he'll get another win somewhere between now and the end of this fight. And just how Fountain handles that. Right now, Fountain has Barksdale at the end of his jabs. Yes, they are pity-pat. Yes, Jon Saraceno could take those punches, but Barksdale is not fighting back.
Well, he's tired, and it's showing. And the other guy knows it. That's the worst thing. If you can fight through fatigue, you can maybe fool the other guy. He's not fooling Arnold Fountain here tonight.
The other part of the psychological game, John, is Barksdale, if he knows he didn't train properly, then he's got to question what's going to happen the next couple of rounds.
Oh, believe me, doubt has been creeping into his mind since the 2nd round when he couldn't get Fountain out of there. It's the old-fashioned shoe shine by Fountain.
Promoter Scott Wagner says he liked this as a real competitive fight. He says he's been wrong before, but you know what? He was right tonight. More Ballroom Boxing coming up. Oh, we got an upset brewing here tonight in the Ballroom. Arnold Fountain from Capitol Heights, Maryland, 33 years old with a record of 4-13-4. That's right, 4-13-4. He's in the white trunks. George Barksdale, the up-and-comer, 5-0, who's been getting a lot of press lately.
Maybe
struggling.
Maybe he's been reading those clippings in the Baltimore Sun by longtime boxing writer Alan Goldstein. I'm starting to wonder if he was, because it doesn't look like he's trained for this fight.
Let's check in with John Scheinman on a scorecard. John, how do you have it?
Agreed. Upset brewing, 39-37. But I want to give some credit to Barksdale here. I think he's in way over his head with Fountain, experience-wise, and his arms are really tired. But he's starting to show a lot of guts. He's starting to rally now, and he didn't lose his composure when Fountain had a big round in the last round.
Yeah, you wonder how Barksdale, 5-0, never really been in this position before, how he's going to respond. Looks like he's responding pretty well right here.
It is a difficult assignment for a young fighter without a lot of experience. We have to stress, Barksdale has only been in the ring, what, 17 times in his life where it's been a live fight.
Well, he's been a professional for 13 months.
Yeah, I mean,
13 months professional. And really, this is his 5th fight of this year. He only had 1 fight in '97. Nice sharp right hand there by Fountain, sneaks in, but Barksdale seems to be smothering Fountain a bit.
Tell you what, if Fountain could punch, Barksdale would have been a lot more trouble here tonight.
Look at the punches of Barksdale. I mean, he is kind of pushing his punches out. He is tired. Fountain battling back off the ropes. Now, this is tough to score when they're in there tight fighting like that. Another body shot by Fountain.
If I'm Fountain and I can use my legs. I try to use them here a little bit.
Look at the punches being thrown by Barksdale. John, he has nothing left on those punches.
And that fatigue has been showing for a couple of rounds. Yeah, he's really slow.
Low blow by Fountain. Low blow by Fountain. Chevalier telling him, don't complain. Barksdale trying to buy some time. Good rip shot there by Fountain.
Kenny might be short of stature, but I tell you what, he's big in the ring, and he doesn't take any bunk from any fighters.
The mouth of Arnold Fountain is just wide open. He's sucking wind right now. Let's see if Barksdale can make him pay here.
This is a closer round, though, for Barksdale, and he's got to have it.
Barksdale really has no starch left in his punches at all, just throwing those punches with no power whatsoever. Fountain firing back with a left-right, overhand right by Barksdale.
And you see Fountain very unsteady on his legs, too. Both fighters weary here.
Nice counter right. Fountain showing he has something left. George Barksdale's in a hole here. Is his unbeaten record in jeopardy? Fountain has Barksdale in the corner. The end of the 5th round, the final round 6, coming up next on Home Team Sports. This is the 6th round, a tremendous battle between Arnold Fountain, who has a journeyman record of 4-13 against unbeaten George Barksdale. John Scheinman with 3 minutes to go. How do you have it scored?
Up for grabs. I gave that last round to Barksdale, and I got Fountain ahead by 1, 48-47.
The left eye of Barksdale has shown some wear and tear. It's closing, swelling shut.
Wow, that thing really has ballooned. And now you see Fountain on his toes, and this could be an effective strategy with Barksdale being fatigued. Question is, how long can Ali bounce on those toes?
Mr. Saraceno, how do you have this fight scored here as we are 1 minute into the final round?
I've got Fountain ahead 48-47. Barksdale needs this round for a draw on my card.
Barksdale pressuring Fountain, really not effectively with any punches, though.
Style-wise, though, I think you'd have to say that Fountain got the better of this tonight, no matter who wins the fight.
Barksdale's left eye is almost completely closed.
Now, Barksdale's missing with most of those shots, Larry. 9 out of 10 are not landing.
Fountain's mouth is wide open. He is just completely out of it, but he finds a way to keep moving and shooting that jab out.
I mean, you don't get credit for not landing. As obvious as that sounds, when it looks like you're aggressive, if you don't land solid punches, you don't get any credit. 0.
Midway through the final round. Pretty close round so far, but Arnold Fountain really has kept Barksdale at bay with that jab. Barksdale has not had many scoring punches here in the final round.
Well, Barksdale's going to have to go back to the gym and go back to school after this fight, even if he manages somehow to pull it out on the scorecards. This is going to be a real tough learning experience, but perhaps a necessary one for the young fighter from Baltimore.
That's going to be tough on the judges, too, to see what they like tonight. If they like the cuteness, if you will, of Fountain, or the sheer power of Barksdale. Barksdale has not hurt Fountain in this fight, however. Just shows you, oh, good right hand by Fountain. Twist the head of Barksdale.
And he's done that several times tonight.
Again, not a lot of punching power, but some leverage from Fountain. From somewhere, Arnold Fountain looking for his 5th win. He's lost 13 times. It would be a huge upset. 20 seconds to go in this fight. Barksdale just pushing his punches out. No snap in the punches of Baltimore's Barksdale. Closing seconds. Both fighters going down swinging to finish this fight. As Fountain pulled off the huge upset. Look at this. Tremendous action to close this fight. Barksdale and Fountain. Mutual respect there. Barksdale knows he's been in a fight. Fountain holds his hands up. He thinks he's won.
That was a very close round, and Barksdale finished very fast. Not a good sign to finish with your back along the ropes, as Fountain did.
Very, very good fight. Very close fight to call. Does Barksdale remain unbeaten, or does Fountain pull off the upset? We'll tell you when we return to Ballroom Boxing right after this. All right, welcome back to the Ballroom. John, we saw a great fight, Fountain against Barksdale. Who did you have winning that fight? What are we going to hear when we hear Pat O'Malley announce it?
Well, I wouldn't be surprised if the judges give it to Barksdale. I thought Fountain really took him to school and won the bout.
All right, interesting fight. Let's see how interesting the decision is. Let's go to Pat O'Malley for the official word. Pat?
Your attention, please, ladies and gentlemen. Judge Don Risher scores it 58-56, Fountain. Judge Holmes scores it 57-57. And Judge Wingfield scores it 58-57, Barksdale. We have a draw.
So wouldn't you know it, a draw. Barksdale and Fountain. Real tough fight. Barksdale says, let's do it again. I think Arnold Ali Fountain would like to do it again. Just a real tough fight. Barksdale grows up in that fight. It's a draw. How about that?
George Barksdale and Ali Fountain just fought to a tremendous 6-round draw. We'll start with Ali Fountain. Seemed like a little veteran ringsmanship there. He looked like it took him to school. How do you feel the fight went?
Well, I ain't got nothing to say, man. This was a good fight. Good fight. It's a draw. I'd like to see a rematch for maybe 8 or 10 rounds, be a better fight.
Surprised at the pace of the fight? Furious action.
Well, he was strong from the start, but I'm a 15-round fighter. 6 rounds ain't enough rounds for me. If we go 10, I get him in 9.
Let's go to George Barksdale here. George, you're getting a lot of media attention. A lot of people thought you should have been a heavy favorite here, but you went in against a guy with 21 fights. What'd you learn here in this draw with Ali Fountain?
Actually, I learned a lot. He has a lot of ring experience, but that don't have anything to do with how I perform. And it was a great fight. I mean, ain't much to say. It was a great fight. And like you said, we could do it again, maybe an 8 or a 10. That's all I can say.
Well, I think Scott Wagner, the promoter here, is going to want to do it again. So, good fight for Barksdale and Fountain.
More money.
Welcome back to Ballroom Boxing. I'm Larry Michael. This man here obviously needs no introduction to boxing fans. Michael Spinks, former heavyweight champ, former light heavyweight champ, gold medal winner in the Olympics. All your accolades, Mike. What was your biggest thrill in boxing?
Well, the gold medal and also the heavyweight championship. I had a number of highs, but unmistakably the gold medal and the heavyweight championship.
Well, you know, we'll never forget those battles you had with Larry Holmes. You're the first light heavyweight to ever win that heavyweight belt. What did it take physically? I know what it took mentally because you had to have a game plan, but physically fighting against a bigger man, was that very tough?
Well, with Larry was the best boxer I ever boxed or fought, because Larry is very non-contact. He don't wrestle, throw you around. He throws his arm out. He elbows you in the face with that when he throws his arm out to protect himself. But he was a very easy man to fight. So physically, it was very challenging physically because I couldn't sit still with Larry at no time at all in the fight. So, but it was a breeze. It was a breeze.
What are you doing these days? I'm sure the viewers out there would love to know what Michael Spinks is doing right now.
I'm still thinking about coming back.
No, come on, tell me now.
No, I wonder about it, but never can tell. But
you think, how old are you now?
I'm 42.
You know,
yeah.
Well, I'm the same age. We ain't that old.
Yeah, I had a good career, but don't take me serious on that one. When I show up, then you'll know. But I'm just hanging out. I still work with Butch Lewis, Von Bean, Joe Frazier and I were training Von for his fight against Evander Holyfield. And I'm still a single parent. My daughter's 18 in December. I'm just enjoying life.
Gotta love it. What do you think of the fights here at Michael's 8th Avenue? They pack the house. The people here have a great time. What do you think?
Oh, I like the atmosphere. The fights are going well. Very entertaining fights. I think it's a great thing.
All right, tell me the secret behind a Spinks jinx.
condition and accuracy, radar, satellite, the whole thing.
All right, hey, former gold medal winner, former light heavyweight champ, former heavyweight champ Michael Spinks. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks so much.
All right, back with more Ballroom Boxing after this. Welcome back to Michael's 8th Avenue in Glen Burnie, Maryland. Ballroom Boxing. We have an unbeaten young stud of the ring, Pat O'Malley, with the introductions.
Your attention, please, ladies and gentlemen. The Maryland State Athletic Commission, Chairman Carlin Milligan Jr., Executive Director Patrick Piniella, and Ballroom Boxing promoter Scott Wagner, matchmaker Josh Hall, present this 8-round bout in the super welterweight division. The referee in charge is Bill Holmes. Introducing the Warriors. Out of the blue corner, wearing the black and white trunks, weighing 153.5 pounds, from Virginia Beach, Virginia, with a record of 8-4-2, 4 via the KO. Please welcome Anthony Tough Guy Perry. Out of the red corner, wearing the white trunks, weighing 149 pounds. He's from the Round 1 gym in Washington, D.C., and managed by Sugar Ray Leonard. His record is 7-0, 4 by knockout. Gary Fast Hands Jones.
Let's take a look at the matchup, John. Gary Jones, just an exciting young fighter against Anthony Perry.
Yep, he got a little bit of a reach advantage, and he's got a significant advantage in the age department.
We recently saw Jones on Fight Night, and with us, the promoter and the manager for Gary Jones, our good friend J.D. Brown. Hey, buddy.
How's everything?
I guess we're having some technical problems with JD's mic. We'll get that squared away in a second. There we go.
Okay, now we're cooking.
Hey, now JD's a broadcast professional. He realized there was something wrong with that mic.
I thought you guys wanted to keep me quiet tonight.
We saw this young man at Fight Night, JD. You guys got great plans for him, don't you?
He's a top prospect. This is a big test for him tonight. He's fighting a guy who's been in with some real cagey professionals, a guy who just won the WBA championship. And this guy here is a real tough guy. It's a real tough test for Gary Jones tonight, but this is the kind of fight that he needs.
Well, why would you take a fight like this, JD, early in a fighter's career?
Well, you want to find out where this kid is at. Like I say, he's a good boxer. He's a good puncher. And, you can't just keep feeding him dead men. You have to give him somebody that can fight.
We know you guys were in the ring with Gary Jones on Fight Night, which wasn't too long ago. How often do you want to see him fight?
I like to see him fighting every 2 or 3 weeks, to be honest, but at least once a month right now. And if we can keep him going, maybe twice a month.
What's his strongest tool?
Left hook, mean left hook.
Of course, you learned that from the
jab,
master, huh?
Yeah, good jab and a left hook. Good counter punching.
Does Ray work with these guys much?
Yeah, Ray tries to work with them as much as possible. He had Gary out there for a couple of weeks in California, work with him out there.
You nervous at all when you see your guy in there unbeaten and clean record against a real tough fighter?
It's always a nervous time for a guy like that. You fighting a guy like this guy, Perry, who's a cagey veteran. He's tough, he's smart. The one thing that Gary Jones has going for him is youth and hand speed.
Just 20 years old, from Washington, D.C. Where'd he go to high school?
He went to high school at, I think, Roosevelt.
Okay. Gary Jones in the white trunks. In the black trunks is Anthony Perry. Jones showing a lot of patience. Is that tough for a young fighter, show?
We want him to do that. He's been boxing with some real good guys. He sparred with Joppy, got him ready for the Duran fight. And, we want him to take his time. We don't want him going there and rushing. It's not a 4-round fight. It's an 8-round fight. He needs to conserve energy and do all the right things he needs to do to win this fight.
You can see the tremendous hand speed that Gary Jones possesses, and that's a natural gift. You don't teach that.
Absolutely, John.
And Ray Leonard had it.
This is Gary's 5th fight in 1998. Had a couple fights in 97, turned pro in June of 96.
Well, he had an accident. He broke his leg in a car accident, and just coming back from that injury. So, like I said, we're trying to move him along. He had about a year of time that he missed. He could have had maybe 10 more fights up to now, but because of the injury, he's just coming back. So we're trying to move him along at the right pace now.
Is he trying to time Anthony Perry somewhat?
And Jones picked that shot off with his left glove.
Unbeaten Gary Jones, an upcoming star in the Washington, D.C. area, in the ring with Anthony Perry. Round 2 coming up on Home Team Sports. Welcome back to the Ballroom at Michael's 8th Avenue in Glen Burnie, Maryland. Larry Michael with Jon Saraceno. In the ring right now, Gary Jones and Anthony Perry. Jones in the white trunks, Perry in the black trunks with the white trim. Also with us at ringside is J.D. Brown.
All right, J.D., I got a question for you. How would you have scored that first round?
10-9 easy, Gary Jones. What about you,
I know
John?
he'd say that. I did give it to Jones, but I thought he got nailed pretty good early in the round and towards the end of the round. But I thought in the middle part, he took control.
There you see that ripping left hook didn't get through, but you saw it just slice through the gloves of Anthony Perry. If he finds the range with that left hook, J.D., Perry might go down.
If he finds the range with that left hook, we're going to have a good night.
J.D. Brown is right. Gary Jones in only his 8th fight and his first 8-rounder is in tough here.
Well, he's fighting a guy that just fought James Page who just won the WBA welterweight championship. And what, he went 6 or 7 rounds with him?
6 rounds.
Just lost to Kenny Ellis, who's 22-0. I mean, this guy's a good fighter.
Andrew Murray, another one of his opponents.
Another top fighter.
Yep.
So, I mean, he's only lost to the really top fighters, you know.
You know, Ray Leonard, when he turned pro, he had some very interesting matches early on against some real tough guys. What's his philosophy on turning a young fighter loose and how to move him along?
Well, he wants to make sure that these guys, like I said, when he gets in the ring, that they're able to do what they're supposed to do. In the gym, we put them with some tough guys and let them work. You know, Gary doesn't spar with the regular, normal sparring partners. He spars with world champions, you know. Guys like Joppe, Andrew Council, Scheinman Mitchell, guys like that. And, you know, when he gets into a fight, we want him to be able to perform like he's doing it here now. He's fighting a tough guy, but Gary's doing well, like I said, for a 20-year-old young fighter with only 7 fights.
Trying to work the body of Perry. Perry's got good defensive posture, keeps his hands in tight. He blocks a lot of those shots.
He's a good defensive fighter. Perry tries to survive. He's a tough guy. You know, he beat Rafu Baku.
Right? Ripping shots here by Gary Jones beginning to open up, and Perry fighting back.
Once again, some of those shots were picked off by the gloves. They sound good to the crowd.
He must have had the glove inside his jaw because he caught that.
Well, on that one he landed, but the other left got picked off.
You can't fool J.D. Brown, okay? Good body shot by Gary Jones. Is he beginning to break Perry down a bit here in this round?
He's doing what's supposed to be done. He needs to stay with that body, work that body on Perry, break him down.
Jones got punches from various angles. There's that left hook we talked about. Round 2 winding down, another good one for the unbeaten Gary Jones from Washington, D.C. Back with more after this. Welcome back to Ballroom Boxing on Home Team Sports. In the ring right now, unbeaten Gary Jones, 7-0 from Washington, D.C., taking on Anthony Perry, 8-4-2 from Virginia Beach, Virginia. With us ringside, J.D. Brown from the corner of Gary Jones. And you see your fighter in there. Your fighter has 4 knockouts. This fight right here, is a knockout expected in this fight? If it's not a knockout, are you disappointed?
No, not at all. You know, anywhere from 1 to 8, this guy cooperates, is fine. But, you know, getting the 8 rounds in for him is important. And in with a tough guy. You know, we in with a guy he's fought for the title twice. You know, my kids only had 7 fights. It's like Jon Spinks fighting Muhammad Ali at this stage.
Jones working that jab, trying to find some range with it.
Tell you what, you don't see a lot of 7-0 fighters who look like Gary Jones.
Well, that's true, John. You know, this kid is a seasoned guy. He's a very talented guy. And the other thing, too, is that if you notice, you know, we as a management team are trying to do the right thing with him, but we're not trying to give him a bunch of dead men. You know, guys are scared to fight guys like Perry. Perry's hard for him to get opponents because people are scared to fight him because he's a tough guy. And, you know, at this stage of the game, if you can't beat him, you got to go back to the drawing board.
I wouldn't hesitate to say of all the fighters we've seen on the Ballroom Boxing Series that Gary Jones is the most accomplished fighter, even with only 7 fights.
Well, thank you. He's a talented kid, and like I said, if things go like we hope, this kid could be fighting for a title within a year.
Perry keeps coming, though. He's tasted some power from Jones already in this fight, but he keeps coming. This fight's scheduled for 8 rounds. junior middleweights.
You can just see that Jones has a very good idea of what the ring is all about. He knows how to maneuver.
Beautiful left hook.
He knows how to maneuver his fighter into position where he can take best advantage of those great reflexes. Got hit with a nice shot there
by Perry. Okay, that left hook, the fake before the hook looked very reminiscent of what Sugar Ray would do. Here you go, toe to toe.
You know, that's one of the things that Gary, I told him in the fight, he can't get careless in a fight like this. You know, this guy's a seasoned veteran. He's cagey. And, you know, sometimes he rocks himself to sleep by getting, you know, a little careless in the fight. But that's to be expected of young fighters, you know. It's just that you don't want to do it against a fighter like this.
This combination by Gary Jones. Anthony Perry using his head there to try to make some room between the gloves of Gary Jones. Ripping right by Jones. Nice body shot.
That's the shot he just stay with, that hook to the body.
Good exchange between Perry and Jones. Clock winding down in this round. Ballroom Boxing brought to you by Toyota on Home Team Sports. We'll be back in a moment. Welcome back to Ballroom Boxing on Home Team Sports. I'm Larry Michael with Jon Saraceno. With us at ringside, J.D. Brown. Watching Gary Jones and Anthony Perry. Also with us, Jon Scheinman. Let's check in with Jon and his scorecard. What's up, Jon?
Well, I got a shutout so far, 30-27 for Gary Jones, but I consider it the kind of shutout like a tennis match that finishes 6-0 but takes 2 hours for the match to be completed. I think this is a lot closer than maybe you guys are making it out to be. I think Perry's really in this fight. He's landed some nice straight rights. I think Gary Jones looks very economical with his punches, but I don't think he's taken complete control of the bout by any stretch.
All right, that's Jon Scheinman of Ring Magazine. Jon Saraceno, what does your card say?
30-27 Jones. I'm not sure how you can win a tennis match 6-0 and be in it, though. or I should say, I'm not sure how you could win 6-0 and be in it if you're on the losing end.
Gary Jones beginning to show some power here. Perry not responding to those punches.
But it is a good test for Jones because obviously Perry can fight, and he's not here to lay down, and he's got some skills. And Jones can't afford to get careless, as JD mentioned earlier. So in that sense, it's a live fight. There's no question about that.
Absolutely, but you know, like I said, this kid is taking control of the fight. He's dominating, doing everything he needs to do in the fight. He just has to be careful and not get careless in the fight and box his way to a victory.
I mean, when you have the kind of hand speed that Gary Jones has and the reflexes and the foot speed, I mean, it's a very difficult assignment for the opponent.
Absolutely.
I mean, what is Anthony Perry going to do?
He's trying to line a home run, John. That's what he's trying to.
He tried with the right hand right there, JD.
He's trying to load up with that home run because he knows he can't out hand speed him and even the foot movement. He can't stay with Jones in that respect either. So what he's trying to do is load up and throw a big bomb and try to catch him off balls when his guards are down.
What are you working with Jones on, JD? He's obviously doesn't have many weaknesses, but what would you like to see him improve?
Just being patient like he's doing and being a true professional. That's what we're looking at, and he's doing that. So far, things are going well. I had him down in North Carolina for a couple of weeks down there with Don Turner, down there training with Don, and he got a little careless there and got caught with a shot, but he came right back.
Lightning quick combinations by Gary Jones in response to that single shot from Anthony Perry.
I suspect Perry's going to pay for landing that. This certainly is a competitive match.
Perry's a tough guy. You're right, JD. Look at him right in there, trying to hammer away to the body. Gary Jones. Round winding down.
They had Perry scheduled to fight on the card. It was difficult. They couldn't find anybody around here that would fight him, you know. So we stepped up to the plate and said, we take it.
Thank you very much. Round 5 is next on Home Team Sports. Welcome back to Ballroom Boxing. Super middleweights Gary Jones and Anthony Perry. Larry Michael with Jon Saraceno as well as J.D. Brown. And as we came out of the break to that round 5, J.D. says that new territory for Gary Jones. Never been past 4. This is 5. I guess we're going to see how he goes in these further rounds.
Yeah, this is a test for him, like I said. You know, we're looking for him to pass this test today. Like I said, it's a difficult test, and a lot of managers would not have taken a chance with.
You know what's amazing? Think about it. This kid's 20 years old.
Yeah.
20.
Yeah.
Look at the kind of ability he has and poise.
At 20 years old.
I mean, it's incredible. It really is.
This goes to show you, you know, he wasn't born when his management team, led by Sugar Ray Leonard, was winning that Olympic gold. Wasn't even born yet.
That's right. He wasn't even thought of.
Guess that means we're old, huh?
We're getting there.
JD, what kind of competition was there for Jones to sign him coming out of the amateurs?
Oh, it was a lot. You know, he fought and lost in the finals of the Olympic trials to Fernando Vargas, and everybody was in California trying to sign him out there. And, you know, I just happened to have a little gold charm called Sugar Ray Leonard with me, and we were able to get him.
Good gold charm to have.
Nice left hook. You can see the right eye of Anthony Perry showing some swelling, showing the effects of that left hand from Gary Jones.
His whole forehead is showing the effects. Starting to be as red as his gloves.
I thought they had put paint on it.
Perry's still there, though. Got to give him credit for that.
He's a tough guy. He's going to be there. You know, we expected that. But I told Gary before the fight, I said, win 1-8 every round. You know, that's all you want to do. Win every round.
Wow. See how quick he threw that lead right hand and got out of there. Just threw two more. Double lead right hand. You know how fast you have to be to throw a double lead right hand?
He's so fast, John, he can turn the lights out, jump in the bed before the room gets dark. Double hook. Anything else you want to see, John? How about double right hand? Double right hand, double left hook together.
Telling you. This kid is impressive. He's going to have some career in front of him, provided he does the right things along the way.
Perry sticking his tongue out at Jones, and I don't know if he wants to disrespect Jones. Jones still has a lot of power.
That was a good body shot there. Another left hook.
Left hook just rattles the head of Anthony Perry.
Anthony Perry, though, showing no reluctance to keep moving forward and taking punishment.
He did the same thing against James Page till he got cut. And yeah, I believe that fight was stopped on a cut, but I mean, he gave James Page a tough fight up to that point. And Page, of course, like I said, just dominated the welterweight title.
He was stopped in the 6th round by Page.
And that is the end of round 5. Round 6 is next. Unbeaten Gary Jones in the ring. We'll be back in a moment. All right, welcome back to Ballroom Boxing on Home Team Sports. 5 rounds in the books. Junior middleweights, Gary Jones unbeaten, and Anthony Perry. Jon Scheinman, how do you have it scored?
Very comfortable lead for Gary Jones, 49-46. I gave Anthony Perry the 4th round, but it could have gone either way. I think Gary Jones, a great-looking prospect, but one thing I'd like to see him do is try to win the rounds by a little bit larger margin. I think he seems a little too content to win the rounds by a smaller margin. I don't think Anthony Perry's a tough guy, but I don't know if he should be in the fight this close.
Jon Scheinman, almost always controversial, Jon Scheinman. What do you say, Jon Saraceno? What is your scorecard?
I got it a shutout, and I think he's controlling the action, and I think he's fighting a smart fight.
Anthony Perry just trying to mix things up now.
Switched to southpaw, too, by the way.
We're saying trying to find some kind of opening. Gary Jones is such a skilled fighter. Perry is tough, and Jones has really made him pay for his toughness.
Even though Perry has landed a few good solid blows, they've been few and far between. And Jones really does not present himself with a very easy target to hit. You try to hit a guy that's moving like that, with the way he's moving his head, his body, his feet, the whole package, and then try not to get hit in return.
Because the name of the game is hit and don't get hit.
That's exactly right.
I think he's doing it pretty well.
Jones trying to time Perry coming in.
Yeah,
Perry ducks down low.
He's waiting to try to do a little counter punch in there, which I don't like for him to do, but you know, he likes to counter punch.
Perry doing the right thing here, going southpaw, JD?
I hope he's not.
I think it's a good move by him.
I mean, he's trying to confuse Jones. I mean, he's trying to show him a little different look than he's had before. And one of the things that you notice that Jones is not doing yet, he needs to stay outside of that right foot and throw the lead right hand on him.
Yeah, and he's
like that.
Yeah. Well, he stepped on his foot that time.
That's one of the things happen when you fight southpaws.
Yep.
Your feet and legs get tangled up. That shot hurt him and made him switch back over to the right side.
Yeah, sure did. You can see it in his eyes. Beautiful body shot there by Gary Jones as well.
So much for that experiment. Guy does look like he wants to counterpunch.
Yeah, he's getting into that counterpunch
Yes,
mode
he
right
is.
now. That's good from his standpoint, but not good when the judges are looking at that. You know, the judges sometimes look for aggressiveness.
There's a straight right hand that's scoring.
And Perry acknowledged the fact that straight right hand hurt him a little bit.
Another good round for Gary Jones here in the ballroom at Glen Burnie, Maryland.
He threw 5 left hooks just now.
Explosive Gary Jones. Eyeballs Anthony Perry. We'll be back. Welcome back to Ballroom Boxing, round 7, scheduled for 8. In the white trunks, unbeaten Gary Jones is 7-0 from Washington, D.C. In the black trunks with a white trim is Anthony Perry from Virginia Beach, a record of 8-4-2.
And mind you, that's a tough 8-4-2. That record could probably be a lot better if he had fought those other 4 fights someplace else. You never know. This is a tough guy, real tough guy.
Sneaky left jab there by Perry. Wards off Jones for a moment.
Wow.
Gary Jones
He loves to throw that counter right hand, and it comes whistling.
He just missed it again.
He missed it again. It's almost like he's fishing. He's waiting for that last hit and nibble to set the hook.
And then he's going to cut it loose.
Got caught on the whiskers that time.
Perry is an awkward guy. He throws punches funny.
Oh! Perry with the right hand.
Ran right into it.
It's Jones down.
Got careless.
Got careless and got caught with the right hand.
Yeah, ran right into it. And probably should have stayed down for a little bit. Showing his inexperience.
See what Gary Jones does. A long way to go here in this round.
And J.D. Brown warned him about that. Not getting overconfident and running into something.
See the eyes of Anthony Perry. He's all of a sudden gaining in confidence. Gary Jones looks clear-headed.
Yes, he does.
Like he's okay.
Yeah, but he wants to fight. He needs to box now. He needs to be moving around. You know, he's pride is young like that. He wants to fight right. He wants to fight right back.
Good point.
Holding on to Perry there for a moment. Jones trying to gather himself after going down. First time he's been down?
First time he's ever been down, even in the amateurs.
It's a flash knockdown, but right on the button. It was a good punch by Anthony Perry. I don't know, Perry giving away the advantage here.
Well, Perry's trying to counter now. He's trying to lure him into counter. That's what he's trying to do now.
Well, if I'm Perry, I got to go for another one here. Make it a 10-7 round. But you know what? I think he's making a mistake here, J.D.
Well, he's letting Gary back in the fight.
Yeah, he let him off the hook.
Yeah, he's letting him back in the round now.
Jones scores with a right, and Perry holds on. It's almost as though the knockdown never happened.
Bad move.
He's trying to lure him in, though. You can see he's trying to lure him in for a right hand.
Bad move, in my opinion. I mean, you could do it for a little bit, but you can't just let the round slip by.
Gary Jones certainly has recovered from that knockdown, and he is back on his game plan.
It's almost like he's apologizing for having knocked down Jones.
Referee Bill Holmes warning Perry for a forearm there. Clock winding down in round 7. This fight is scheduled for 8. We're going to be back after this. Oh, a shocking development in the 7th round as Gary Jones goes down for the first time in his career. Let's take a look. As this punch from Anthony Perry, a right hand, connected on Gary Jones in the 7th round to tighten this fight. Now, Gary Jones had a substantial lead to this point. Let's take a look. Oh, yeah, right on the button with the right hand. Hey, Gary Jones, though, cleared his head rather quickly in that round after that blow. and came back. Let's go to Jon Scheinman very quickly for the scorecard. John?
67-65, Gary Jones. I think he's still comfortable, and if he can just box his way out of trouble here, he's going to win the fight.
Jon Saraceno, what do you have your scorecard?
Once again, I agree with Mr. Scheinman. 67-65 Jones.
Jones beginning to stalk Perry here. Now Perry gained the advantage by the knockdown. He has done nothing since the knockdown.
Yeah, but Perry's trying to counterpunch. He's trying to lure him in. He knew he couldn't do it the other way. He's trying to lure him in. Gary's got to be careful.
And I think Gary is being careful here.
He needs to be. Like I said, this is a good test for him.
JD, you said you knew this was going to be a tough fight for your man Gary Jones. Certainly has been.
Yes, absolutely.
A good learning experience for a young guy 20 years old to find himself in that predicament.
I don't know. If I didn't know better, I would have thought that Perry hit the deck the way he's fought the last round and a half.
Hadn't thrown any punches, John.
Very suspicious.
Jones tying him up.
Well, they said Perry hadn't been in the gym, but, you know, this kid, you know, came in heavy. He was supposed to have been coming in at 149. He came in 53. You know, Jones is a welterweight. This kid here is really a middleweight coming down.
Perry tried to sneak in that right hand and missed.
Jones has a lot of pride, though. He's trying to.
He's getting ready. Jones is getting his counter right. He's gonna let him throw a punch and counter with the right hand. Watch.
Perry's got to realize he's behind.
He's hoping for one more punch like he had last round, John. I think that's what he's figuring. That's his only shot.
But you know what? You got to do more than hope at this point. You got to throw too.
That's what Gary Jones is doing. Wants to finish strong. J.D. Brown, we appreciate you stopping by, being with us. I know always a nervous time for you with your fighter in the ring, especially tonight when he hit the canvas.
Thank you. We appreciate it, buddy.
Good job,
Okay.
J.D. Brown. Going to wait for the decision. This fight winding down. And you know, you saw J.D.
He's a nervous wreck right now, let me tell you.
Yeah, he looked alive when his man went down. Good body shot there by Anthony Perry.
I don't know, the fight seems to have gone out of Perry. Ever since he landed that Sunday shot, he's not been the same fighter. You know, fine to try to lure the guy in, but you got to throw. And clearly he's behind the fight, needs another knockdown or a stoppage to try to win. Doesn't look like it's going to happen unless he lands another lucky shot.
Gary Jones slipping well.
Seems like a long round here.
And finally, the end of that round. Gary Jones and Anthony Perry go the distance. Jones goes down for the first time in his career. A straight right hand from Anthony Perry puts Gary Jones on his backside. He got right back up. Looks like he won the fight. We're going to wait and see what the official decision is. We'll be back to the ballroom for the decision in just a moment. Welcome back to Michael's 8th Avenue. Unbeaten Gary Jones tastes the canvas for the first time in his career. Let's see if he wins the fight. Let's get the word from Pat.
Your attention, please, ladies and gentlemen. We have a unanimous decision. Judge Don Richards scores it 77-74. Judge Kenny Chevalier scores it 78-73. And Judge Jodai Winkfield scores it 78-73. And the winner, Gary Fast Hands Jones.
Gary Jones won every round but the 7th when he was knocked down for the first time in his career. The crowd doesn't like it. And here is another replay of the knockdown, John. Why don't you describe what we're seeing?
Well, you're going to see he's trying to set him up, Perry. He's looking to throw that right hand through the jab, but don't forget it got set up by the jab, and that's usually what happens. The right hand follows. Jones never saw it coming.
Jones gets up after the knockdown and cruises to victory, a unanimous decision win over Anthony Perry. Jon Scheinman standing by with the winner, Gary Jones.
Gary Jones, things are going along nice and smooth through 6th round. All of a sudden, 7th round, right hand, bang on the button. What went through your mind?
Well, I went down. That's what went through my mind. And it was a good shot. You know, he called me flash, you know, and I was being careless. I put my hands down. He called me good. He was a good fighter. But I came back strong, you know, when I felt though I pulled it out. You know?
Do you feel like you were maybe a little lackadaisical through the fight, maybe not pushing it hard enough, too content to win by small margins?
Yes, I think I was lackadaisical too much, and you know, usually I'm good and warmed up for the fight. It took a long time. My first, you know, time fighting as a just coming in fighting like as a how can I put it? A main event, you know, and it took me a long time to warm up and get good and hot, you know. But it was a good fight, though. You know?
Is that a good experience for you or a bad experience to get knocked down for the first time in your career, pro or amateur?
It's a real good experience because most of the best fighters get knocked down, but it's they're getting back up, you know.
Well, Gary Jones remains undefeated despite the knockdown. Let's go back to ringside to Larry and Jon.
All righty. Well, hey, Gary Jones wins. He runs his record to 8-0. And he does so after coming off the canvas in the 7th round. More Ballroom Boxing coming up from Glen Burnie, Maryland. Stick around.